The galaxy watched in silence as the broadcast began. Every world with access to the Dominion network received the same signal, an endless field of red sand under an alien sky. Bound human captives stood in lines stretching for miles, faces hollow, their movements subdued by electromagnetic restraints. The camera zoomed out to reveal the shattered ruins of Mars' primary colonies, once a symbol of humanity's expansion. Now, they were execution grounds. Alien commentators spoke in cold, detached tones. The Zereth Dominion called this event the cleansing of weakness, a lesson to the younger species of the Orion Arm. Their announcers laughed in shrill, mechanical voices, boasting that humans were the most fragile creatures ever to reach the stars. The transmission carried no censorship, no mercy. It was raw horror for all to witness. On Earth, Commander Ethan Cole stood in the dim light of the Defense Command war room, eyes fixed on the screen. Around him, officers froze mid-motion. No one spoke, no one dared breathe. The feed showed 10 million human captives vaporized in synchronized flashes of blue plasma, their bodies disintegrating into dust beneath alien cannons. The Dominion's war anthem blared as if celebrating the slaughter. Cole's jaw tightened until it hurt. His hands clasped behind his back, knuckles white. He watched in silence as his species was paraded as entertainment. His reflection flickered on the monitor's surface. Sharp eyes, a face carved by duty, yet haunted by years of loss. For him, this was not the first atrocity committed by the Dominion, but it was the first one they dared to broadcast. When the screen went black, the silence was unbearable. The officers shifted uneasily. Someone whispered, 10 million, and then stopped, unable to finish. Cole turned away and walked toward the central table, where holographic feeds of global leaders blinked to life. Earth's council chamber appeared, faces of generals, presidents, and scientists crowding the projection. The air buzzed with panic. "They're sending a message," said one official. "They want the colonies to surrender before total extermination." "No," Cole replied, his voice even and low. "They're not negotiating. They're mocking us." Arguments erupted. Diplomacy, retaliation, surrender. The same old cycle. One senator slammed his fist on the table. "We can't fight them. The Dominion controls half the spiral arm." Cole's gaze remained steady. "They control nothing they can't hold," he said. "And they just told the entire galaxy that we're prey. You all know what happens next." His words silenced the room. Every leader understood. The broadcast wasn't just murder. It was an invitation to others to join in. If the Zereth could exterminate humans without consequence, then every predator species would follow. "Commander Cole," asked the United Earth president, her voice trembling slightly, "what do you propose?" Cole leaned forward, hands on the table. "We stop being prey." He activated a secure transmission. The room dimmed as a classified file opened. Operation Eclipse. Data filled the air. Fleet movement plans, stealth protocols, orbital weapon schematics. The project had been theoretical until that moment. A contingency for a war no one wanted to admit was inevitable. This operation was designed for survival. Cole continued. But survival isn't enough anymore. The Zereth made their choice. Now we make ours. A long silence followed. Then, slowly, one by one, the council members nodded. Votes of approval flashed across the holographic display. The final authorization appeared on the screen. Operation Eclipse activated. When the meeting ended, Cole didn't leave for his quarters. He took the elevator to the memorial dome above Earth Command. The transparent walls showed the night sky beyond, millions of tiny lights across the black. For the first time in human history, space no longer looked like hope. It looked like a graveyard. The dome floor was covered with names, all the victims from the Mars colonies. The engravings stretched endlessly, glowing faintly under the soft illumination. Survivors had left flowers, medals, photographs. In one corner, a child's toy lay beside a cracked helmet. Cole stopped before it, staring down for a long time. He knelt slowly, resting a hand on the cold floor. "I saw it happen," he whispered, "and I swear you won't be forgotten." Outside, the wind howled softly across the dome's surface. The hum of Earth's orbital defense systems pulsed in the distance, steady and calm, the heartbeat of a species preparing for war. A young officer entered quietly. "Sir," he said, his voice careful, "the fleet's readying for launch." "Orders." Cole stood, his shadow long and dark across the memorial floor. "Bring the captains online," he said. "Every ship, every drone. We move within the hour." The officer hesitated. "Sir, the council authorized limited retaliation." Not limited," Cole interrupted. "They broadcasted genocide. There are no limits left." The officer swallowed hard, nodded, and left without another word. Cole turned back to the stars one last time. He remembered the broadcast again, the alien laughter, the hollow silence that followed. His heart was a furnace, burning with the names on that floor. Humanity's rage was not loud or chaotic. It was quiet, deliberate, and absolute. He touched his earpiece. "This is Commander Cole to all fleets. Begin deployment." Across Earth's orbit, engines ignited in synchronized bursts of blue light. Massive carriers, black as night, emerged from their docks and formed up in perfect alignment. The stars shimmered behind them like witnesses to judgment. Cole's command ship, Resolute, detached from the formation, its hull marked with a single emblem, a broken circle surrounding a red star, the symbol of remembrance. He stood on the bridge, surrounded by officers at their stations. "We will strike their relay worlds first," he ordered. "Silence their communication. Then we move on their heart." "Sir," said the navigation officer, glancing at the map, "that'll take us deep into Dominion space. No support, no fallback." Cole's eyes didn't waver. "We're not coming back until they're gone." The stars stretched into lines as the fleet entered warp. For a moment, the Earth grew small in the viewport, a fragile blue sphere hanging in the dark. Cole stared at it. The home of the 10 million souls erased in the broadcast. Then he turned away, his expression unreadable. The last transmission from Earth Command echoed in his mind, the president's final word before launch. Make them remember humanity. Cole had no intention of making them remember. He intended to make them vanish. And as the Resolute disappeared into silence between stars, the first chapter of vengeance began. A retaliation not of anger, but extinction. The void of space was quiet, but silence did not mean peace. In the darkness beyond the asteroid belt, humanity's fleet drifted like a shadow, invisible to sensors, hidden within electromagnetic distortions. Commander Ethan Cole stood at the center of the command deck aboard the Resolute, watching data streams flicker over the holographic table. Around him, officers whispered status updates, voices steady but strained. Every man on that deck knew they were about to step into the heart of the Dominion's empire. Months had passed since the broadcast. Across human space, grief had hardened into resolve. Factories once devoted to exploration now produced railgun slugs and plasma cores. Entire orbital yards churned out stealth frigates instead of cargo haulers. The Dominion thought they had crushed humanity's will. Instead, they had forged it into something sharper. Cole's gaze shifted to the tactical display, a map filled with cold blue lines marking the planned assault. Operation Eclipse had begun. Their first objective was the Dominion's communication grid, relay stations orbiting barren moons across 3 sectors. If those fell, the aliens would be blind and isolated, unable to coordinate their massive fleets. "Status report," Cole said. "Phase 1 units are in position," replied Lieutenant Darrow, his second in command. "The drones are synced to gravimetric drift. No signatures detected." "Good." Cole turned toward the viewport, where the faint glow of a distant sun traced the edge of the Resolute's hull. "We move at 0900. No transmissions, no light. Ghost formation only." The fleet began to move, engines burning so softly they barely disturbed the vacuum. From afar, they looked like fragments of debris caught in a slow orbit, invisible to any Dominion scan. Cole's eyes remained fixed on the shifting void. Every move was precise, calculated. He wasn't here for victory. He was here for erasure. The first target came into view. Relay Outpost 7B, a fortress station guarding the Dominion's primary compounds. On its surface, crimson lights pulsed in steady rhythm. Alien officers inside believed themselves untouchable, No ship had ever reached this deep into their control sectors. "Drones are in position," Darrow said, awaiting command. Cole raised a hand. "On my mark." For a heartbeat, the galaxy held still. Then he spoke. "Execute." The darkness came alive. Hundreds of stealth drones powered up simultaneously, invisible currents rippling through the vacuum. They accelerated toward the outpost at near relativistic speed. Guided by AI routines built for surgical destruction, the first impacts hit without sound. Kinetic spears punching through armor, tearing into reactor cores. The Dominion's defenses flared to life too late. A blinding explosion consumed the station, and the communications web across 5 sectors went dark. No one on the human side cheered. The operation continued with grim precision. One by one, the relay outposts fell. Within 20 hours, the Dominion's command structure was crippled. Fleets couldn't receive orders, planets couldn't call for help, and confusion spread faster than any weapon. On the Dominion flagship Vexler Prime, Admiral Vector watched static fill his command screens. "Report," he demanded, his voice a guttural snarl. "Why have the relays gone silent?" "Unknown interference, Admiral. We suspect solar storms." "Solar storms don't erase entire networks," Vector snapped. "Someone is inside our systems." His eyes widened as fragments of data resolved into horrifying clarity. Flashes of human ships moving through the dark, their profiles unlike anything seen before. "Humans," he muttered, almost disbelieving. Impossible. But it wasn't impossible. It was deliberate. Back aboard the Resolute, Cole studied the results with no satisfaction, only focus. "Move on to Phase 2, he ordered. "Hit their fuel convoys and supply depots. Leave nothing functional." The fleet divided into strike groups, each assigned a specific target. Human stealth ships materialized out of nowhere, launched rail slugs that tore through cruisers before disappearing again into the dark. Not one transmission, not one recorded warning. To the Dominion, the humans had become phantoms, unseen, untraceable, unstoppable. Cole's communications officer turned to him. "Sir, we intercepted a Dominion transmission. Their admiral believes we deployed thousands of ships." Cole almost smiled, though his eyes stayed cold. Let him believe that. Fear is worth more than fleets. Hours bled into days. The war spread like infection, quiet, invisible, and fatal. Dominion trade routes vanished. Their colonies reported mysterious disappearances, then nothing at all. Every night. Cole stood at the viewport, staring into the abyss, the reflection of dead stars flickering across his face. He didn't think of victory. He thought of the 10 million burned alive under alien fire. Darrow approached him once, hesitating. "Sir, intelligence confirms the Dominion High Command is in chaos. Some are calling for peace." Cole didn't turn around. "They didn't call for peace when they broadcast our dead." "Understood." Darrow's voice softened. "But what happens when we reach their homeworld? What's the end game?" Cole's silence stretched long enough for the hum of the ship to fill the air. When he finally spoke, his words were calm but lethal. "The end game is memory. We end them so no one else ever forgets what humans are capable of." The next assault came at dawn by galactic time, a coordinated strike on a Dominion shipyard orbiting a gas giant. The alien fleet defending it outnumbered the humans 5-1, but numbers meant nothing in the dark. Cole's ships emerged from the gas giant's shadow, plasma reflections disguised by the planet storms. The first Dominion vessel to detect them exploded before it could raise shields. Human fighters weaved between debris, targeting reactors with surgical precision. The Dominion fleet broke formation, panicking, firing at phantoms that weren't there. Vector watched helplessly as his screens went dark one by one. His last transmission before his ship was annihilated was a single line, intercepted and translated aboard the Resolute. "They are fighting like ghosts." When the final explosion faded, Cole stared at the data feed, showing another sector gone silent. "That's 5 systems neutralized," Darrow said quietly. Cole nodded, his tone flat. "Proceed with Phase 3. "Sir," Darrow hesitated. "Phase 3 targets inhabited worlds. Civilians." "They watched as their leaders slaughtered 10 million of ours for entertainment," Cole replied. The Dominion had no civilians when they made a show. The room was still. No one argued. Every man there carried the same ghosts. Orders went out, and the fleet moved again. As the Resolute's engines flared to life, Cole walked to the viewport once more. The stars looked colder now, sharper, like shards of glass. He thought of the Memorial Dome on Earth, the toy, the helmet, the silence. Every decision he made felt heavier, yet he didn't falter. He tapped the comm to all fleet commanders. We've taken their light. Now we take their breath. Begin total erasure. The acknowledgement signals came in, one after another, steady and resolute. Beyond the stars, entire Dominion sectors began to vanish, their presence replaced by expanding voids. Cole closed his eyes for a brief moment, not in prayer, but in final acceptance. He had crossed the threshold where vengeance and justice became the same word. When he opened them again, the stars no longer felt distant. They felt like witnesses to the unmaking of a civilization. "Engage Phase 3, he said quietly. No survivors. Outside, the human fleet vanished into the darkness once more, leaving only silence behind. The kind of silence that comes before history changes forever. And for the first time in galactic memory, the predators of the cosmos began to fear the name of Earth. The Dominion homeworld hung beneath a dying sun, its atmosphere veiled in ash and electromagnetic storms. Once, its cities had glowed like jeweled towers stretching toward the clouds. Now, they trembled under the weight of their own fear. Reports had flooded in for weeks. Entire fleets gone silent, colonies erased, sectors swallowed by darkness. Every transmission ended the same way, static and silence. The Zereth Dominion, conquerors of millennia, was collapsing, and no one understood how the humans had done it. In the war council chambers of Zereth Prime, chaos reigned. Alien admirals shouted over one another, voices harsh and metallic. Screens flickered with tactical projections, each more hopeless than the last. The Supreme Chancellor, a creature of immense size and shimmering scales, slammed his claws on the table. "It's impossible," he roared. "The human fleets were annihilated months ago. They cannot still exist." But they did exist, and they were coming. The chamber's main screen blinked to life, static forming into an image. Commander Ethan Cole, standing on the bridge of the Resolute, face pale under the cold blue lights. His words were calm, each syllable deliberate. "You broadcasted genocide," he said. "Now the broadcast ends." The transmission cut abruptly, but the message had already reached every Dominion system. Moments later, thousands of human warships emerged from hyperspace around Zereth Prime, their black holes absorbing light, their weapons gleaming like lines of fire. The sky above the alien capital turned crimson as the first volleys hit orbit. The Dominion's planetary shields flared, screaming under the pressure of the assault. Cole stood unmoving at the command table. "All batteries, fire at will," he said quietly. His voice carried no hatred, no excitement, only certainty. The barrage began. Massive orbital lances descended through the atmosphere, slicing through clouds and striking the surface with devastating precision. Entire continents convulsed. Cities vanished in white light. The Dominion's defenses crumbled in minutes. Their proud armies reduced to static on the comm feeds. Lieutenant Darrow watched the destruction unfold. "We're detecting no organized resistance, sir. They're broken." Cole's expression didn't change. "They broke us first." Through the viewport, he saw the Dominion capital burning. The air itself ignited, turning the sky into a storm of fire. He remembered the broadcast, the screams, the laughter, the way alien announcers had treated death as spectacle. That memory guided his hand, now more than any strategy. Humanity wasn't here for conquest. This was an ending. A junior officer hesitated before speaking. "Sir, planetary sensors indicate civilian sectors still active. Orders." The bridge fell silent. Cole's gaze fixed on the young man. "Did they spare ours?" The officer looked down, throat tight. "No, sir." "Then finish it." The command rippled across the fleet. Orbital bombardments continued, methodical and relentless. Waves of plasma fell like rain, erasing every trace of Dominion civilization. Libraries, temples, shipyards, schools. No target was spared. The planet's crust began to fracture from continuous impacts. In the heart of the Dominion capital, survivors huddled beneath shattered spires. The sky was red with falling fire. A priest raised his hands toward the heavens, broadcasting on all frequencies, voice trembling with desperation. "To the humans," he cried, "we surrender. We were not all part of it. Have mercy." The message cut off mid-sentence as an orbital land struck the city, vaporizing everything within 100 kilometers. On the Resolute, no one spoke. Darrow glanced at Cole, voice low. "We've achieved total orbital dominance. No signals left. The planet is dying." Cole turned from a viewport. "Then let it die." For a long time, no one moved. The only sound was the rhythmic hum of the ship's systems and the distant echo of destruction below. Cole walked to the viewport, staring down at the planet as it cracked apart under the final salvo. The atmosphere tore away, streaming into the void like smoke. Darrow stepped closer, his voice almost a whisper. "Sir, we've done it. The Dominion's gone." Cole didn't answer. His reflection stared back in the glass, pale, tired, and hollow. For the first time since Mars, there were no enemies left, only silence. Minutes later, the last Dominion structure fell, its energy core detonating in a flare of light brighter than the planet's sun. When the glow faded, there was nothing, no cities, no signals, no life. Just a dark, spinning fragment of rock where an empire had once stood. Cole stood motionless as reports streamed in from other fleets. Every Dominion system was gone, their archives, their colonies, their communication arrays. The erasure was complete. The galaxy, once filled with their arrogance, was now empty of their voice. He turned to his crew. "Transmit to Earth Command," he said softly. "Message reads, objective complete. The broadcast has ended." As the message was sent, Cole walked off the command deck. Through the quiet corridors of the Resolute, soldiers and officers watched him pass without words. They knew better than to celebrate. What they had accomplished was not victory. It was finality. He entered the observation chamber alone. Through the glass, the ruins of Zereth Prime drifted below, glowing faintly like dying embers. Cole stood there for a long time, hands clasped behind his back. His mind returned to the memorial dome on Earth, to the countless names carved into the floor. He could almost hear the silence of that place, the soft hum of the air systems, the smell of cold metal and fading flowers. The door slid open behind him. Darrow entered quietly. "Sir," he said, "Earth Command requests confirmation on civilian casualties." Cole didn't turn around. "There are no civilians." Darrow hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Understood." After a pause, he added, "What now?" Cole finally looked up at the stars, endless, indifferent, scattered across the void. "Now," he said, "we remember what it cost us to survive." The two men stood in silence, watching the remnants of the Dominion drift apart, swallowed by the dark. Around them, the fleet began its slow retreat. The engines glowed faintly, pushing them toward home, though none of them truly believed they were returning to the same world they had left. As the Resolute entered hyperspace, Cole whispered to no one, 10 million lives for 10 billion erased. When the stars stretched into lines and the darkness folded around them, a single thought lingered, that humanity had learned how to win, but not how to stop. Across the galaxy, other species received fragments of Dominion transmissions, static, screams, then nothing. Entire civilizations fell silent as they watched the footage of Zereth Prime's final moments. No one spoke of vengeance. No one mocked humans again. The message was clear, echoing across the stars long after the flames died. Earth had answered, and the silence that followed was not peace. It was fear,